So I was born in upstate New York, Ithaca. We moved to Syracuse and basically settled there for a while. I loved Grandma's garden, and that was just a great experience that I keep going back to as I think through this process and what has influenced me for my life. And that time in the garden just was a big thing. In Italy, everybody made wine in the basement. So that was just part of the culture. And that's really how I started, was in the basement, small batches. Growing up in Syracuse, we're right at the edge of the Finger Lakes, and I worked a small vineyard there. And a buddy that I grew up with, his dad wanted to plant a vineyard, and I was like, okay, well, we can do this on a side thing. So I was doing that, and I was working at a restaurant and just kind of piecing things together, and knew I was going to college in the fall, right out of high school, but didn't really know exactly what the thing was. I had the opportunity to go back to school full-time at Syracuse, and do an exchange, a study abroad program for a semester. And I went to Italy for 4 months. I was able to get the degree requirements that I needed for that round, go back to school full-time, came back, finished up, and then I was like, this is good. So I mean, I had a college degree, and when I started at Buena Vista, I was making $6.50 an hour, and getting real dirty. But that was what I had to do to learn it, to prove it, to show others that I was worthy of them putting their mentorship in. I kind of learned a little bit more of my management style there too, okay, well, we got to get this done, and then we can get this, or we need this part in order to make this work. And so I really started to see the better vision of making a vineyard, putting a vineyard together. We got an opportunity to move to Virginia, which was just starting to open up as a wine industry, and the opportunity was at Terrara. I worked there for 3.5 years. It wasn't a perfect situation, but it got me here, it got me in Loudoun County, and there's no better place. Terrara, we lived on the farm. We were here in Luckett's. I knew, and the owner knew, eventually I wanted to have my own. But we also were always preaching, collaboration. All boats lift in a rising tide here in Loudoun County. And it was important to recognize that and have my skills and experience from California share a bit. So I started consulting a little bit, but I had bought the land, and we knew this is where we were going to settle, but we needed a home. So we bunked up with my sister-in-law for 9 months up in Jefferson, and then while we built the house here and started the vineyard. So the New Ag School was really just an evolution of what I had been doing for decades. I never thought of myself as a teacher, but I realized even in California, because I had a business background and a lot of these people didn't, I was the one that was developing the procedures. I had to do the same thing here. In Virginia, we barely had an industry. So I was definitely doing a lot of training and a lot of teaching and making sure that the team was on program with what had to happen. But everybody needed to learn it, and I was doing consulting, so I had a lot of different clients that needed to learn, not just the jobs on the ground, but these are people that are running a business, and they needed to learn aspects of that as well. I got involved with economic development here in the county at an earlier point, and it was Lou Parker that dragged me in to that organization with the Rural Economic Development Council. And when I was on there, I learned more about what the vision of the county was. And through that, and working with others and seeing how the wine industry was really a base. A lot of traditional agriculture was kind of getting smaller and wasn't as reliable and certainly wasn't working together, and the wineries had to work together. That's just how our industry was built. All boats lift in a rising tide, and my customers are going to be their customers down the road, and people are going to come out and enjoy this experience. And then you start putting in the bed and breakfasts and the wedding venues and the restaurants and the other farms and the produce, and all of a sudden it's like, here's this beautiful 3D tapestry that really makes a lot of sense. And I just kind of kept playing that for, I was on that organization for about 12 years. So I was fortunate enough to get chosen to serve on the Virginia Wine Board, and it's an organization where our tax money from the alcohol that we sell in the state goes into a pot that we are able to redistribute into research, marketing, and things like that for the industry. And 8 years I served on that one. This spring I was honored with the Virginia Wine Grower of the Year, and that was pretty good. And when I got up and talked about that, I recognized that not only do I grow grapes, I'm growing the team. I'm growing the people. This is an industry, and horticulture and farming is all part of what we have to have important every day. This is our culture. I'm proud of the industry. We've got 55 wineries at this point, and we're getting great recognition. And when I started here, we had 4. So whether I have, my fingerprints on one, or if I've helped train a consultant who ends up training the next one, it's kids and grandkids. It's the industry that really makes a big difference. So I'm proud of what we've done, and how the whole culture of Western Loudoun and this rural lifestyle is somewhat sustainable, and that's what we should be. I think my legacy is in all of it, is in the land. So if the business doesn't stay, I'm okay with that. But there is a part of that pain that, my business is my family, and we have a lot of great people here. I think my biggest impact with Loudoun County probably has been the advocacy for agriculture. I started the new ag school. It's had a couple transitions in names. It's had a number of transitions of focus points, but I've narrowed it down to promoting and providing agricultural education for our community. But I've also tried to create it in a way that it can go other places as well. I love the idea that Loudoun is a land of leaders. And you look at who's come out of this place, who's come through this land. And, we're lucky enough to not have to worry about whether we can eat food today. We're at a higher level. But that gives us a stronger responsibility that we have to help others, and we have to learn to lead and pass that leadership on so that we can do smart things in the future. I've been lucky enough to help people recognize how important this green land is and how it does fit in with the rest of what happens with Loudoun. I didn't know that was what I was gonna do when I got here. I thought I was just gonna grow grapes. But in helping other people realize this is a real thing, and it's something to be proud of, and it fits with a lot of lifestyles as that place of relief and love, it's pretty cool to have that. People are proud of it, and I'm proud too. I didn't realize that I have the level of impact on it that I guess I do. This award obviously shows something that, to be a Loudoun Laurel is because somebody thought I was doing something pretty good. Obviously, I couldn't do it without the support from my wife and my family and the business and the industry. I think my legacy is maybe it's tenacity. I didn't want to give up because giving up was easy. I knew we needed better education for our kids about this land. And I've met great people along the way. I've been supported by great people along the way. And because of that, it helped me not give up. The opportunity was just there. And I feel like I was graced with that chance to make a difference.